you believe that we started recording right in the middle of 2020 with all of the COVID and lockdowns going on around us, unable to meet up? So like many a young gentleman, we turned to the internet for our entertainment. Tried to find a place where we could meet up and talk about the good, the bad, and that time that Stu saw a pelican on the canal. In order to facilitate our dreams of answering all of the big questions in film, and after a few attempts at recording via other methods to various levels of success, we found Zencastr, a super easy web-based one-stop shop for recording. Log in and you're ready to record in a matter of seconds. It doesn't take a tech genius to get high quality audio or video. And on top of that, the one time we have had an issue, the fact that the multi-layered backups are stored locally means it's easily fixed all in browser. There are plenty of tools you need when you start podcasting, so let Zencastr take that headache away, as it offers a place to record, edit and distribute all from one website. Any lazy bones Jones can pick up and play and have studio quality audio or 4K video put out for the world to see when using Zencastr. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code CAGEFIGHTING and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. And now, hit the music.
Nicolas Cage is probably one of our generation's definitive actors.
Hello and welcome to Cage Fighting. It's your main man, Andy Gillard here. Hope everybody's keeping well in the world right now.
Hello. We'll put a picture out of exploits from yesterday and why Andrew was staring at me for 5 hours.
Ash is also with us. Hello, Ash.
Howdy.
So last night, Ash, I don't even know if I texted you about it, but Stu had a pedo moustache last night.
No, I didn't know anything until I've seen a video, and that was the first thing that came to my eyes. I was like, ooh, hello. Oh, here.
I walked into the Weatherspoons and, like, before even saying hello, I was, the fuck is that? Just immediately.
I mean, the point was that it was 80s night, which is the reason we was out. And I thought, well, what more 80s can I possibly do than have a...
Than just chill, though.
Have a go full Magnum PI. And we only decided 2 weeks beforehand. I thought it actually grew quite well for me.
It did, yeah.
But I thought, yeah, I'm never doing that again. It was unbearable. As well as looking ridiculous, it was unbearably bad.
I think next time, if there is a next time, you need to leave it 6 to 8 weeks to let it get a bit bushier first, I think is the way forward.
I'm not going through the itchy stage. It's just not worth the hassle.
I don't think you'd have an itchy stage if it was just a moustache.
Oh, well, it started to irritate me after 10 days. So, and then it immediately removed this morning.
That's fair, especially because you were with your son.
Yeah,
his football match. You don't be on the sidelines with that, do you?
14-year-old boys now.
If you're doing that for the 80s now, what would you do for 90s now?
I mean, the T-shirt was Funhouse yellow team, so it kind of spans both. 90s, I don't really know what you would do because it was curtains, I guess, a curtain wig.
Yeah, and like the goatee, but not like a full goatee, like the mustache with the chin strap, that kind of a goatee, so nothing joining in the sides. That feels kind of 90s, doesn't it? So that might be the way forward for a 90s evening.
A mohawk for the 2000s, like gun style.
Yeah, we'll.
Yeah, we did. There's no denying it. Oh. Right, okay, so we're going to be doing a double record today. So we're going to be doing the State of the Union for summer 2025. So at some point you'll hear the music will kick in, and then me and Stu will be talking about Nick Cage in Gunslingers. Um,
That one I've
Yeah.
seen.
it's
But you can stay. You can talk about it as well.
If someone wants to talk about that shit, man, I told you months ago. It's awful.
Cage's performance is something like I don't know if it's good or bad yet. I'll decide as we get closer to it. But yeah, it's a sight to behold, that one. So yeah, the end of the first half is going to be us talking about Gunslingers. When we get to the end of the second half, which will be next week's podcast in your world, but not ours, we'll be doing Running with the Devil. So that'll be the next film up in that portion of the pod. So anyway, plan is we're going to be going through month by month, and we're going to have a quick look at like the overall thinking of how we feel about summer 2025. First things first, though, Stu, can you give me your thoughts on summer 2025 in just a sentence?
Surprisingly good, considering what we've had before.
Ash, same question.
Sequel and reboot heavy.
Mine is horrific in the best way. So we'll start with May, because I think basically summer for me should be the 1st of May to the 31st of August. Like that's the summer really, isn't it? So I think that's the best place to start. And in May, the first film that all three of us got to see was Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Now, it had a budget of around 600 to 700 million because that included Dead Reckoning and also the pandemic, because Tom Cruise refused to let anyone go without during the pandemic, which I think is something that should be applauded, really. The box office returns on that is 571.1 million for Dead Reckoning and 598 million for Final Reckoning. So all in, it did over $1 billion on the two films. So it did all right. The series itself grossed over 7.4 billion, giving an average of just under 600 million per film. So actually, both of these films were kind of average performances for the whole series of the movies. Stu, we spoke on this podcast. I didn't particularly love Dead Reckoning. I think now with Final Reckoning attached to it, I've kind of got a bit of newfound respect for Dead Reckoning. Where do you sit on the Dead Reckoning, Final Reckoning of it all?
When your problem was that it was at half a film, which I didn't have the problem with because I knew it was half a film. But I watched it because I had to catch up, didn't I? So I watched it a week before, maybe. Was it something like that? Dead Reckoning. So I only had, it was days, maybe weeks, in between watching the last one. And I thought it paired it together perfectly. I thought I really enjoyed it. It was probably one of the weaker ones of all of them, Dead Reckoning, but it did what it had to do in setting up the final one. But the final one was great. I don't know what I expected going into it, and we talked about it at the time, didn't we? But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good, considering all the stuff that was going on and all the kind of denial of using CG and what is CG and what's not and all that kind of thing. It didn't really matter in the end because some of the stuff, the set pieces were incredible. Regardless of how they got there, it's stuff that you couldn't take your eyes off it, and it's things we hadn't really kind of seen before as well.
Like, that's one thing I love about the Mission Impossible series is each film does give you something that you've never seen before. And really, I don't think you've seen a lot of it since either. Like, I don't feel like anyone's come close to giving you those heart in the mouth moments quite like the Mission Impossible franchise has done. Ash, what were your thoughts on Dead Reckoning leading into Final Reckoning?
I'm not a massive Tom Cruise fan, so these were films that I watched and that I spent time watching them, and then I left the cinema, and that's about as far as it went. I don't have a big affinity for the Mission Impossible series. Apart from Simon Pegg and then the cast of characters that were in the second one, they're all right. They're good films. Popcorn munch. Just waste you a couple of hours. And I'm not the one for these ones. Like I just don't vibe with Tom Cruise for some reason. Like there's not many films of his that I enjoy because I wasn't a big Top Gun fan or Maverick. They just weren't for me. I took my mum to see that and she was loving it, but I was just there like, yeah, this is a film.
Interesting. I've been a fan of the Mission Impossible series throughout. I think it ended on a really good note. There was a lot of criticisms around how it felt like the final film felt like it was two films sort of stitched together because it was very much the first part was a lot of exposition in molding the old films together into a story that ended up being an overarching story that was never there initially. I thought they did a tremendous job in actually tying everything together. Whether or not we get any more, and I kind of think we probably will, whether TC is going to be in the seat or it's going to be just letting Chris McQuarrie run with it, I do think we're probably going to get more Mission Impossible down the line. I want more. I've got to be honest. I still want more. Stu?
Yeah, I mean, as long as he can move and he can run around, that's the main things of these films now. And he still looks as fit as anything. He's kept himself in decent shape, so there's no reason why they would stop doing them. And you can't have Mission Impossible without him. It just wouldn't work. You couldn't have like the new class of Mission Impossible. So as long as he's in it and he's part of it, then yeah, great. Bring it on, bring more. Let's have another 2 or 3 film all together.
I feel like of all of the franchises, this is the one that's let me down the least. And like we'll get to other franchises as we go through the lists, but yeah, this one hasn't. Like the bum notes are like 3 stars, whereas some of the others, like when we get to Jurassic Park, the films in Jurassic Park world, whatever, range from a 1 star to a 5 star, whereas I feel that Mission Impossible are like 3 to 5. That there's such little variation between. Was it Jeremy Renner that tried to pass this off to at one point, Ash? I feel like they brought him in to do something.
Was he?
Which they do with Renner for a lot of things. So maybe
He Ghost Protocol.
Yes, I think it was Ghost Protocol, wasn't it? Would Renner do a job here? Do you think? I don't feel he's charismatic enough to do it.
No, they tried to be Bourne.
They did, didn't they? It was not good. No. Right, interesting. The next film that I've got on my list is one that me and Ash both saw, which is Final Destination's Bloodlines. A budget of $50 million with a box office return of $307 million, which is excellent. Like we've had a solid year for horror on the big screen. Previous years, like it's always felt like we get a couple of horrors around March, April time. Like when the world is kind of distracted by the Oscars, we'll sneak out a few horror films. And then we get them in the September, October corridor for obvious reasons. But it feels like in 2025, we've had at least one sizable horror film hit on the cinema screens. And like a lot of horrors, Bloodlines carried on this trend of small budget, big box office returns. So it's another one of these reboot, restart, whatever you want to call it, Ash. You were a big fan of Bloodlines, though, weren't you?
Big's a stretch. I enjoyed it for what it is. It is nonsense. You can't go in there and expect Oscar-winning like performances or film, but for silly nonsense, it's better that it's better than 4 and 5, definitely. And again, with the Tony Todd performance, the monologue from Tony Todd, you couldn't go wrong with that either, to be honest. So.
That was the highlight.
It was.
It's almost worth watching the film just to hear Tony Todd get to say his goodbye. and it's heartbreaking, but it was something special. Probably because it was real, I think, is what helped with that.
Mm.
I don't think I want to see any more though. I think, to be honest, I think that would be the perfect place to end it. But with the numbers that you read out right there, never happening. Never in a million years.
It's not easy. They're not going to leave money on the table. They're going to flog that horse until it's long gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want any more. I wasn't as big a fan as you, and you weren't a massive fan, so that kind of speaks to my thinking on it. It was absolutely okay, and that's pretty much about it. Stu, you didn't get round to it. Were you not a fan of that, or did you just not get time to fit it in?
No, I love them for what they are. It was just a case of we'd watch them all. Ethan had watched them as well, and obviously you're not going to get a 14-year-old into cinema to watch that anymore. I tried it with American Werewolf in Paris when I was his age. But yeah, it was just a case of that, and then we just ran out of time. And I was waiting. I know there was versions of it out, but I was waiting for the proper one, and then we went away. So I'll get round to it. I'll watch it. Like the Saw films that I've watched every single one of. I know what they are. I'm not going to champion them for anything that they're not, but they're enjoyable in their own little world. But yeah, I'll definitely get to it. And I know there's a lot of people, when I had to mute Bloodlines because there's people talking about it and certain things, I thought, yeah, this needs to go away. Yeah, I think I'll probably get around to it next week now with the no football one.
It's interesting, really, because 5 was the perfect ending. Like, it's a shit film, but the ending of 5 is so perfect to that world that they didn't need to go back. And this doesn't add anything other than giving Tony Todd his chance to say his farewell. So it's a bit of an odd one, but like Ash pointed out, you're not going to make 6 times your production budget and not go back to that well. It's just the way of the world, unfortunately. The next film that I've got on the list is one that I've not seen, and it's Thunderbolts ***. It had a budget of 180 million, which I know it's superhero slop, but that still feels kind of high for a film of this nature. The box office return was only 382 million. My first question then, Ash, 180 million. Did you see 180 million on screen?
No, not at all. Maybe in fucking wages, in the cast, because obviously you've got Kurt Russell's kid, you've got Queen Flo, you've got David Harbour, Sebastian Stan, like you've got the whole list, but I don't recall any big set pieces really. Not off the top of my head. It was quite grounded, to be honest, compared to some of the other CGI messes. So that was a lot of money for that.
Because if I don't actually know what the Fantastic Four budget is, but if you tell me that Fantastic Four was 180, 200, I can sort of see that because it is quite CGI heavy. Everything I saw about Thunderbolts didn't, like you said, grounded seemed to be the word. Stu, what are your thoughts on that budget? It feels a little bit inflated, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, inflated is the word, isn't it? Everything's more expensive than it used to be. But this does, I'm guessing that a lot of that went on the New York stuff at the end, in the last quarter of the film,
right,
without spoiling it. But that was really it. Like you said, grounded was the word. It's not bombastic. It's not effect shots everywhere, unless they're doing stuff like the subtle things in every single shot. There's something in the background because they can't help themselves, like extending a building or stuff like that. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, like Ash said, wages and stuff like that. These people are not cheap anymore.
No, it's true. We will be discussing the state of superhero cinema like down the line, so we don't really need to get too bogged down in the minutiae of it. But I do want to know, why did this film flop? Like, I feel like the homework is absolutely the issue now with this world. this film is pretty much based off characters almost entirely made up from films which people didn't particularly care for, and for TV shows that people didn't really watch. So this wasn't just putting a C team together quite like they did with Guardians. This felt like they were putting characters from stuff that people actively avoided or disliked. And then giving it this unknown name, and then changing that name before the weekend was even over. It screamed, if you want to watch this film, you're going to have to go back and watch 30 hours worth of hashtag content here. Ash, is that a fair summary? Am I being harsh here?
I think apart from Yelena, you were just expected to know who Ghost was, and who fucking Russell's kid, who he was playing, and
Captain America. Yeah.
I forgot who he was, and it's just like, at this point, it's like, if you're not fully invested at this point, like me and Stu are, begrudgingly for some of us, then you can't just jump in. Like, they're expecting you to know everything, and it's like, you can't do that at this point. There's so much back work, and I imagine it's going to be the same for next year. And it's just stop, please.
Stu, the homework, is it the problem? Is it an issue?
It's not. It's only an issue if you want to make more money down the line. I mean, they didn't lose money on this, and it's all building up to the end, isn't it? So when everything does finish,
not the end though, is it? There's never an end.
No, because they're going to be in 10 years. It's all going to be the same conversation. Now there really is too much homework to do, but a nice system reset where you can just start there. But that's what it seems to be like. That we don't really care. We're going to put this stuff out. It's all interlinked. You know the score now. This is not a normal film. It can't be judged by normal film standards because it's not a normal film. And it is this interconnected world. And it's like, well, we all know this now. And if you really wanted to miss a lot of it, you could get away with watching Black Widow and Falcon and the Winter Soldier and be okay with that. You wouldn't make any difference if you just watched them and then went and watched Thunderbolts, the new Avengers. But the name thing was stupid. We said it at the time. Ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It spoiled a gag that wasn't really that good anyway, by them calling themselves that. And it can never have happened before that you've changed the name before even a week's over. And then you just the normal people who might have an idea, oh, that looks interesting, and it gets word of mouth. Then that word of mouth is then confused because it's a different film to what you've been told that you would need to go and see. It's all a bit. It was a gamble that completely backfired. Didn't work, but yeah, we just know what we are with these. I mean, the funny thing is, this was one of the best one for a long time as well.
Sadly.
So I just looked on Google, and the second weekend box office drop off was approximately 55%. So, like, you do expect it to be around, like 50% is about okay for a normal film. And like, it's better than some of the other Marvels, like the Marvels itself, that was a 78%. And Quantumania was down 70%. So it was still sizable, in fairness, but not quite as bad. Maybe because it did have some fairly positive word of mouth. I think maybe that did help it a little bit. So I really don't know with this one. I'm almost inclined to watch it just because I kind of want to watch all of Florence Pugh's work. But it's been 4 months at this point, and I've still not got round to it. And it's not because I haven't had time, it's just because there's always something that's slightly more intriguing to me than this film, which is not a great thing, I don't think.
It'll be one, you'll watch it and then you'll be annoyed that you took so long to watch it.
Probably. Like, potentially. But at the back of my mind, there's always this could just end up being that dog shit Captain America Red Hulk thing. Like that. Like I've not watched it. I've got no inclination. I don't want it anywhere near me because it looks like it's gonna stink.
Near me.
Like you can just tell that it's got a whiff to it, and I'm not watching it. And that's fucking Harrison Ford. Like, for crying out loud, that's inexcusable to be looking as bad as that. I've only got 2 other quick fire reviews that I want from. Well, it's only one from Ash and one from me. From May, Lilo and Stitch. Ash, you're the only one who's seen this film. The 3 of us. So give me a quick fire review. This is also the biggest film of the summer. This is the only film that hit 1 billion.
Well, yeah, because that little blue shit is fucking like drugs to kids. They love that. They love that little bastard. To be fair, I can't say anything. I met the fucker in Paris. So, as far as Disney sequels, Disney live action remakes go, it was fine. The outrage of the ending is absolutely unwarranted. Them changing, I can't think of what the big alien's name is. The two gay aliens in the cartoon. They're making the Russian one, Zach Galifianakis. It doesn't matter. Like, it's fine. It's Disney remake slop. And as far as the Disney remake slop goes, this is better than some of the other ones. We're going to make a shit ton more. They're going to make a shit ton of money because they just marketing the little blue shit. And they'll probably make a sequel and however many more.
And you'll still use it else.
Yeah, damn right.
Stu, you said the other week, though, when you were over in the States, that Lilo or Stitch, whichever one the blue alien is, I don't know, that was everywhere when you was in Disney World. Like, he's probably the generation below us. He's probably their Mickey Mouse almost, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he used to be Mario. He used to be the most recognizable thing over Mickey Mouse, and that thing probably is getting up there now. The way it was marketed, it was absolutely everywhere, and it wasn't just on shelves on lunch boxes and stuff like the old cliche. It was, but you couldn't turn. I mean, yeah, I was in Orlando, so of all the places, but I was not on a Disney park other than the one day. But it was like, yeah, they're pushing this thing in your face, and people were loving it because you saw them all. Like, people were walking around, the kids with backpacks with it on, or they got the little toy version of it. Just mental. It's completely took over.
Yeah. I mean, the toy version of it, that kind of makes me think of Funko Pops. And with the Lilo and Stitch Funko Pops, you can get that blue alien dressed up as a minion, as a character from the Marvel. Like, you can get like dozens of different versions of that character dressed as other characters. And like, they're just printing money with it. It's absolutely mental what they've managed to achieve with that character. And like, it's not something I've ever had any inclination of watching, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, it's fine. The original is fine. But that's all it is. It's like it's just like the rest. It was nothing special to me. I watched it and I thought, oh, okay, that was fun. Ash is going, but for everyone listening, obviously not watching because this is unfortunately not visual. He's gone wandering off into his room, into his mountain of Funkos, and he's going to bring one back. I don't know. He's bringing many of them back.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, you got the tiki one, one with the bra on his head, and the Elvis one.
And then he knew where they were as well.
I know. Incredible.
They're in Disney Corner.
Just mental. The other quickfire review was going to be Clown in a Cornfield. Now, Ash, I know why you didn't see it. Stu, why didn't you see it? Because it was silly horror, and I kind of feel like that was probably something you might appreciate.
I did. I started watching it and it broke, remember? I don't know if I talked about it on here.
Oh, no, I don't remember that.
Yeah. It was just one of them things where I obviously he was probably at Cineworld for like 2 days. But I was watching it on other means, and it just failed, and then it wouldn't come back on. So I only saw about 25 minutes of it.
Like, it's something that's got a really good idea behind it. So basically, it's the clown in the cornfield. The clown is a mascot for this town, and then he ends up killing people. He lives in this cornfield. When kids go in there, they get slaughtered. It's fun. It's silly. It's nonsense. It should be great. Unfortunately, the film just stank a little bit. And when you've got Kevin Durant in it, you need to have him front and center, not give him 5 minutes in the background. Like, they sort of wasted their best, I think, on this movie. And it just ended up being something quite forgettable quite quickly. And because the ending doesn't get resolved, and it doesn't get resolved in a way that is bad filmmaking, not in a way that is setting up a sequel. Like, literally, a character runs off screen and then is never mentioned again. And like, okay, well, you've just fucked it there because you've buried the lead. Like, you've just made a really bad decision there with your filmmaking. So it ended up being a bit of a stinker, unfortunately, that one. But again, it's another horror film that we got. Like I said before, we're getting 1, 2, 3 films per month in the horror genre, which feels quite refreshing, and I like that. Moving into June, the first film I've got on my list is From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. The budget was $90 million and the box office was only $137 million. The 4 Wick films were made for under $250 million and grossed just over $1 billion, with the final part hitting $450 million. So what gives? Like, Ash, why did this film fail quite miserably?
I don't know. I enjoyed it. Possibly it was a sequel that didn't need to be made, because I think, to be honest, I think it was perfect the way that it ended. If you ignore the spin-off, what was it called? Was it called The Continental?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I read that. That didn't need to happen. That was Mel Gibson, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah.
Rough.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. No, I really enjoyed Ballerina for what it was, but did it need to exist? No. Does this entire franchise need to keep going? No. And to be honest, I think that probably represents what the general public probably feel at this point. Like,
I think so, because the 4th one ends quite definitively in the way that it absolutely should have. The story was leading to that point. It made perfect sense. So they've now brought in, as I said, the full title is From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. They've put John Wick before the character in the fucking film. That does not make sense, especially when John Wick is in it for all of 30 seconds and says about 5 words. And the thing is that Ballerina, when she was in, was it the 2nd film or the 3rd? I can't remember. Like, she does make an appearance, doesn't she, in one of them? But she was just kind of there and wasn't particularly fantastic. Like, you didn't care if you'd see her again. This vague prequel, soft launch side character, I don't get it. I really don't understand. And I didn't like this film all that much. There's one really good set piece in it. Like, there's a couple of good fighty scenes that I didn't mind, but the story around it was quite weak. And was it? It's the 3rd John Wick, isn't it? That's quite poor. Parabellum.
yeah.
Ballerina's worse than Parabellum. Like, definitely. Stu, you're a fan of the Wick world and Ana de Armas, and you didn't get around to this one. So, like, surely this should be your bread and butter. Why didn't it get you there?
I've no idea, actually. It was. I mean, I have the John Wick films in the Blu-ray corner. They were the rare ones of the modern times that, other than MCU Phase 1 to 4, that have actually got hard copies of. And Ballerinas, there was just something that just didn't grab me really. I don't know what it was. Because obviously everything that she's in is normally great for some reason or another. But the Affleck film is a good one. But yeah, I think that, like we said about the name, but the Thunderbolts thing, if this had been called John Wick Ballerina, there's your answer. But you see ballerina and then little subtitles from the world of or wherever it is. People aren't going to look at that. They're going to look at the screenings, because I remember it being on Cineworld. It didn't have the John Wick stuff. It just said ballerina. Who are you going to get people into that? Especially
I think they retrofitted the from the world of.
You look at what John Wick is. It's a, I'm guessing 90% male audience who are going to see John Wick.
You'd assume
Are they going to go and watch a film called Ballerina? I don't think so. So I think the name very much could have put people off, and I'll get to it eventually at some point, because we watched all of that stuff and the quite excellent top-down game as well, which had no right being as good as it was. Yeah, I just baffled myself why I didn't watch it.
Honestly, I don't think you really missed much. It didn't add anything to the John Wick world. It was just a film. Like that's all I can say. But it was just a film. Like, it's quite sad, really, because I like Wick. I like Ana de Armas, but no, not for me. The next film up is 28 Years Later. The budget was 60 million. The box office return was 150 million. We've dived quite deep into the 28 days, months, weeks, years world in the archives, so you can always go back to that. I did have a look on the Google reviews for this one. And much like the Amazon reviews, Google reviews are either give everything a 1 or a 5 star. Like, it's a really dog shit system for idiots. But this film had around 60% 1-star reviews, leaving it with a 2.2 out of 5 average. Like, when you look elsewhere, it's got 3.5, 7 out of 10 kind of scores. But it's clearly a very divisive film. Do you think this reception, like quite specifically to the ending, will help or hinder Bone Temple? Stu?
I've kind of softened on it now in the time that's passed, with the couple of months that have passed. But knowing Bone Temple's coming up, and I'm not going to watch a single second of it. Don't need to. I'm going to be there anyway, because we all are. Knowing going into that it's going to be something a bit more silly, and it's not going to be as grim and terrible and emotional as 95% of that film was. It'll either be a massive success or it'll bomb. I don't think there's going to be any in between with it, because it's going a very different way to what these films have been. So I can't even predict it. So I genuinely have no idea.
Ash, what do you think? Is it going to help it, or do you think it's going to turn people off?
I think, strangely, I think it'll depend on what state this country's in when it comes out. With what's going on in the world at the moment, I think having all them nutters flying around killing with what happens at the end. I think if the world keeps going as mental as it is, I think more people are going to go and see it, because I think it's going to get advertised that sort of way. I think, to be fair, I think if you've gone and seen it, I think you've gone and seen 28 Years Later, you're going to have to go and see Bone Temple, because you need to find out where it's going. Like, you can't just come out of that and go, nah, I'm done now, I'm out. You can't. Like, you need to get your head processed if you're going to leave that ending where it is and go, I don't need to see any more right now, because that's I think that was the masterpiece of it. Like, you sat there open mouthed, like, what have I just witnessed? I need more now. I need to see more. I think it was a masterstroke. Whatever you think of it in itself, it was a masterstroke because it left me wanting more, and I want more now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you're right. I don't know how you could see that and not think, holy shit, what is going to happen next? And I think I'd said on the podcast at the time, if that was a post-credit scene in a Marvel film, it's exactly what they would want it to have done, because it does give you that idea, that inclination of what's going to happen next. It's whetting your appetite. It's because it wasn't an end credit scene, it was part of the main feature. Because I feel like we've kind of been conditioned as an audience to expect these things to be post-credit scenes now, which really they shouldn't be, because post-credit scenes very seldom add anything to the movie. If anything, they just make it fucking annoying. So I think that it was the right way to do it. And I think a lot of people just get pissy because it's quite clearly a nod to Jimmy Savile, and for obvious reasons, people don't like that. Like, people don't want it. But if you've gone to a horror film, expect something horrific. Like, it's not fucking rocket science. You're supposed to feel uncomfortable. And I think that's what it did.
In terms of that, though, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it last time, but you have to think in the brainwave of that universe of whenever. What year did 28 Days come out? Was it 2005?
It might have even been. Was it set in the late 90s?
Well, whenever, at that point,
it was pre-Savile Expo,
pre-U Tree. So in that sense, I get. In that sense, that stuff hadn't come out. So, like, I understand. Obviously, it's uncomfortable, but in that sort of, if you're in that brainwave, that never come out. So this lad that Jack O'Connell's playing, he will have grown up loving Jimmy Savile. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't take a rocket science to work this one out. And yet people will still not get it because a lot of people don't have media literacy. I just think it's that simple, if I'm honest. Up next is F1 the movie. The budget was somewhere between 250 and 300 mil. The box office return was 619 million, which I gotta admit I was a little bit shocked at. It's a good return of investment on this one, on a man who has become pretty divisive, especially quite recently. Look, and I don't know that Brad Pitt's ever had a particularly rabid fan base. He's always been pretty well liked. Like, even after he split with the beloved Friends actress, he wasn't hated, even though he pretty much initiated breaking her heart, I think. But obviously the stories that are surfacing now about him are really not good. So I did wonder if that would put the brakes on F1. But yeah, 430 million worldwide and 189 in North America. Is this the power of the sport, or is this name recognition within the movie, Ash? Because I know you didn't see it, did you?
I haven't seen it, no.
As an outsider, would you put that on the sport, or would you put that on Pitt?
I'd probably gone and watched it for Pitt, to be honest. I enjoyed Rush, and I've enjoyed a couple of the other things, but I can't say that I'm a massive F1 fan in itself. So I probably would have said I would have gone and seen it because it's still Brad Pitt and Javier Bardem. Was it Javier Bardem?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I would have gone for the actors, but I just never got round to it.
Mm. Now, Stu, F1 has been growing massively over the last few years, hasn't it? Like, we were talking last night, you were saying Cadillac are having a team come into it. So clearly the American market is really embracing F1. So I think that's helped it quite considerably, hasn't it?
Yeah. And you've got the permanent F1 experience thing in Miami as well, next to Hard Rock Stadium. That's obviously part of the track when he goes there. And for the rest of the year, it's there as an F1 experience. I don't know exactly what that is. But obviously being owned by Americans in limited media as well, it's going to have a bit of a push. And the Drive to Survive series did improved things massively. I mean, it was a kind of overnight success, and you could see it in the early days of that where they were concentrating on the shit teams, because why would Ferrari and McLaren and Red Bull want to be involved in a scummy little Netflix TV show like that? And then as soon as the money starts rolling in, then they suddenly appear. But yeah, it's grown out of nowhere. I mean, the race today was great again, despite the winner. But it's got it's F1 being cool is weird because it's not cool. It never used to be cool. It used to be for nerds, and no, it's not. It's for everyone now. And then like you say, is it the Brad Pitt factor? Is it F1 factor? I think it's both. I think that's why it works so well, because you have got the people who went to watch it because it's Brad Pitt. You have got people who went to watch it because it's F1. I expect it to be not so much pandered to. I thought it'd be too watered down for me to enjoy, and I really didn't. I loved it. I thought it was great for what it was, and it's a bit far fetched, but like I said many times, all that stuff has happened in the past, and it's nothing. There's nothing invented as such. Things have been employed in the past. About some maneuvers that were made on track in that film. But taking it as a sport film, it was fun. It was a fun way to spend a couple of hours.
No, I completely agree, because I'm not a big fan of F1. I get a bit bored with it, to be honest. I like the start and I like the end, and the bit in the middle is a bit shit, to be honest. But I like the fact that they dumbed it down enough that for someone who has very little knowledge of that sport, I could follow along and actually get excited with what was going on. They did a really good job of drawing you into that film. I probably went for the Brad Pitt and of it all, and ended up actually just really enjoying the movie. I thought it was very well made. But yeah, they did dumb it down enough to keep you on side, so you weren't getting left behind with what was going. But they also put stuff in there that was a little bit high tech, like the stuff about the aerodynamics and all of the different gadgets that they have on these cars and stuff like that. So I could imagine that if you did know stuff, there's enough there for you. And if you didn't know stuff, they're going to make sure that you don't get left behind. So they did such a good job with this film. But I still didn't expect it to get 619. I think that's going to end up being potentially, or probably, top 5 films of the summer, almost certainly. So I'm really quite shocked that it's done as well as it has, but at the same time, I do think it deserves it because it was a very good movie. Yeah. Quick fire reviews. Ash, Megan 2.0. Good, bad, horrendous.
Tried to change genre, didn't work.
Yeah. Like, it was marketed as sci-fi, and I didn't like the first Megan, so I thought this one was going to absolutely stink, and I've never bothered getting round to it. Stu, you didn't get round to Megan too, did you either?
No. There's only so much time. You look at
Thing in it, yeah.
this year, and I've watched half of these films on these lists. It's you haven't got round. I've probably watched more films this summer than I have for years, and then there's still stuff on there like these. I mean, the first Megan, I actually did. I don't know why I did, because it's basically Chucky but worse.
I think that's why I didn't like it, because it's Chucky but worse.
Yeah. But with this, I thought, well, I know it was panned immediately, and normally that means, oh yeah, the ears prick up. I thought, okay, I want to prove you wrong, or I'm going to watch it to see how bad it actually is. With this, it was just a bit middling. I thought, well, I'm not going to go out of my way to go and watch this. I'll wait for it to come out at home, and then that came, and then I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it was ever going to be so bad it's good. It just sort of felt like it was going to be just almost immediately forgotten. Yeah, not great. How to Train Your Dragon. It was all right. Ash, what did you think?
the best live action remake to date. Because they didn't try and fuck about. They just went, here's the cartoon in live action form. Like, this film is beloved by quite a lot of people. Let's just give them that. Well done. We make money.
With the dragon.
I don't think. Yeah, it was all right, but like, you don't need that there, do you? Like, you've got the cartoon. Why do you need the exact same thing? But it was fine. Like, I don't think I've seen the cartoon version all the way through in one sitting. I think I've seen it across several viewings, but for whatever reason, never seen it in one. And yeah, I don't see the need for these films, but it went down well apparently.
You know, I think it is. No, what we experienced last night as well, being old men in a nightclub. That when that song came on from Two Door Cinema Club, which it said on, we had to Shazam because we didn't know what it was. And every single person in there, other than us four, seemed to be bouncing around singing along to it.
Yeah.
They've obviously grown up with it, stuff like that. And this is what How to Train Dragon is.
You're old.
Yeah, we are.
You're old man. I'm young.
I mean, there was one point that played Scotty Doesn't Know from Eurotrip.
Yes.
Which, like, it was a belter. And almost nobody in that room, apart from us four, were even born when that movie was out. Like, I genuinely saw a girl wearing a 21st birthday badge, and I was like, oh, fuck off. Horrific. The other quick review that I wanted to do was for Elio, which was also released in June. It was a really sweet little film that, and like, it's a fresh idea. It's not something that's based on a pre-existing IP. So I was a little bit sad that it probably, well, almost certainly didn't make its money back. The budget was between 150 and 200, and the box office returns was 153. But it was just this nice little story about a sweet kid who befriends an alien, and then shit goes wrong, and he has to save him. Like, what more do you want from a kid's film? It was big and bright and beautiful, and like kind of welled up a little bit in parts because it was so well made. And it, like, flop isn't the right word, but it just didn't succeed. But we get so much anti-art shit that does, and it's fucking depressing. But what can you do? But yeah, lovely little film. I do think more people should see it. I like Pixar movies. I feel like Pixar are so good at knowing the heart of the audience, and they know how to deliver it. So it's quite sad that it didn't get the views that it deserved. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for the second part of the podcast, where we're here to discuss one of Nicolas Cage's latest releases as we talk about Gunslingers. I pull up the IMDb. I've made no notes for this film for some reason. I think I was just so utterly blown away. The word. Oh man, genuinely, I was very tempted to just do this section of the podcast doing that Nicolas Cage impression, because what the fuck was it, Stu? I don't know why he did that voice.
When as someone who did actually lose their voice and had to have speech therapy to get it back, even deliberately trying to, it's talking as if Sean Dyche has got a cold.
It really is.
It's a bit crazy, but I don't know. Like, you know that he goes to these places some point, and it's obviously not directional, is it? He wouldn't have been told to do this.
Absolutely not. This is all Nick Cage. All Nick Cage, yeah.
I thought, okay, we've got a while, and he's not really in it anyway. He's very much a support act in this masterpiece. And then he appears, and you go, oh, okay, he's there. And then he opens his voice, and people in the curtain, I was pretty bored at this point by the time we see him.
Immediately, yeah. It's not good.
And as soon as he started talking, I thought, okay, this is better. And it's one of the most strangest things I've ever seen. his performance in this is off the scale crazy.
I don't know what he's doing at any point. and honestly, it probably makes the film more interesting than if he wasn't in it, because it was just batshit. Like, I rewound it when he first started talking, so I thought, hang on, has my copy fucked up? Is this B? Like, is this my side of things where it's wrong? It's not. Okay. Because like, we did bemoan fairly recently about the fact that Cage doesn't really do accents or anything like that. And then he does this, for crying out loud. But like I say, he's not really the focal point of this film, which kind of surprised me, because when you look at the poster of the movie, it's got Stephen Dorff, Nicolas Cage in the middle, and then it's got Heather Graham. So it kind of looks, as you look at this picture, that it's about him, and it looks like it's about him and his gang of 2 others. Like, it looks like that's what it's going to be. You look at it and you don't immediately think that he's going to be the supporting actor in this one. I have so little to say about this film because it was so incredibly boring, though.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why it's one of his worst rated films. 3.7 on IMDb, 5% critical score on Rotten Tomatoes, 17% in the audience score. And I can't argue with any of that. Like, when we looked at so we looked at it last night, didn't we? It's like his worst reviewed films. And I think we'd worked out that, was it Jiu-Jitsu, I think, is his worst rated film. And even that is more interesting than this. Probably in a bad way, because it is a terrible film. I think it was Jiu-Jitsu and Left Behind. But both of those had qualities where you watched it and you could laugh at parts. And there was none of that in this film, other than his ridiculous accent.
Yeah, all this... I mean, it's just a Western story. I mean, we did moan a few years ago with he's never done a Western, then he does 3.
And there he does nothing but Westerns, yeah.
And maybe this is why he took it upon himself to kind of jazz this film up, because it is a pretty boring paint by numbers kind of, oh yeah, this is the new sheriff in town. These are just a gang of scumbags, all living in this one place, like Stella Street. And again, very deep cut there for the kids. But yeah, it was... I mean, I haven't seen Stephen Dorff, like I said last week. I think that I hadn't seen him for a long time in anything. So I didn't really even recognise him at first. So I'm obviously basing it off Blade. But he was all right. Heather Graham, like, no, I'm not really been putting anything else that you hadn't seen before. And then you're the merry band of weirdos. They're all okay. Well, the whole thing was just... Even the actual gunslinging was shit. Like,
Yeah, it was.
it looked like a student film.
I mean, that's the best way of putting it. There's no source at all to this movie, was there? It was so plain.
Yeah, it was nothing like... Considering it's called Gunslingers, and you think, okay, this is going to have at least a bit of action in it. There was action in it, but it was boring. And how can you make it a Western like this with no action? And the only bits that were fun and good were from Cage.
And not for the right reasons.
Yeah. I mean, whether is he a priest of some kind? It's never really explained what he is.
No, he just has a Bible on him at all times and wears glasses which have got a cross on. Oh, okay. And that's never explained.
No. Like, he's walking around with cross glasses, cross sunglasses as well. In 1910, apparently.
Yeah.
Which seemed very late for what was actually there. Especially having been playing Red Dead as well at the minute. Yes. Like, it seems completely out of place. Like, it should be like 1850 or something like that. But yeah, it makes no difference anyway. It was shit. Rubbish. And the interesting part is if someone can be bothered to go through it all and make a Cage supercut of his appearances, because that's all it
I would
warrants.
happily have watched that over what we actually got to see. Definitely. Yeah. Like it's interesting looking on IMDb at not IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes at the critic responses, and most of them they were basically only Cage's most diehard cultists will want to bat for this performance, as they could easily struggle to accentuate the positives. That's exactly what we're doing now. Like it's just exactly it. In the end, Nicolas Cage can only do so much to bring this hastily assembled Ota to life. Yeah, absolutely fair. Everyone's just talking about Cage, and even though he's not the main man in this film, and he is all that's worth talking about with this movie, because there's just nothing there.
But even the bit where he blasphemes and then silences himself.
Yeah, like I hope someone has done that they've just cut out Nick Cage's parts and put it into a YouTube video, because that's all this film is worthy of.
You know what?
Watch it for that, and
I might download it and do it myself if no one's doing it.
someone needs to.
But
Brian Orndorff says Gunslingers does have Nicolas Cage, and he's extremely cagey in this, becoming a sole source of entertainment and laughs, both intentional and unintentional. Yeah, perfect.
yeah, and the bit where he's holding up the trap door.
Yeah, like I genuinely, I've got nothing to say about this. Like this might be one of the worst films. When we come to do his bottom 5, probably even after the top and bottom 10s now, I think, because we've seen so many of the films, it would feel harsh to miss some of them out. I feel like this is potentially going to be in the bottom half of, or very much in the bottom end of his filmography.
Yeah, because it's not. That sums it up. He can only do so much, and without him, this is worse than. Well, we'll talk about it next week. The timeline's all broken. You know why? War of the Worlds is more fun than this.
Yes, it just is. Yeah, there's no two ways about it.
It's a very, very dull, boring film, made even slightly acceptable by the fact that Cage is absolutely batshit insane. Like off the scale madness.
Yeah. So, did you enjoy the film? No, not at all.
No, terrible.
Was Cage good or bad? Like I struggle with this because he was the best thing in it, but I don't feel like I can say he was good.
But he wasn't bad though.
No. He wasn't, because he was the only watchable thing in it, and he was the only one who was trying to do anything. Just so happens that what he was trying to do was fucking crazy.
And it makes no sense for the rest of the film either.
Doesn't, does it? Doesn't. Like, he's acting in a different film entirely.
Like the tone of the rest of the film compared to him is the complete opposites.
It is.
It's not just the voice; it's the mannerisms and all the little things that he does, and not being able to kill anyone.
Insane.
But yeah, I think yeah, he was good, just because he was. A lot of these films where you say the name, you have to look it up and to find out what it was about. When you say Gunslingers, you ain't gonna forget that performance.
You're probably right, because when you look at what are the other ones that we've watched, which are westerns, the Old Way was one, and what was the other one that he did? That's just telling its own tale. That I can't even tell you the name of the other western that he did, and I don't even remember what happened in the Old Way.
One's better than the other.
Butcher's Crossing. Yeah, Butcher's Crossing was better. That was the one where they were they got caught in an avalanche.
Yeah.
Where he had a bald head and beard. And it suited him. Yeah, that was marginally better. And The Old Way, what was that one? An old gunslinger and his daughter must face the consequences of his past when the son of a man he murdered years ago aims to take his revenge. I vaguely remember it, but like the title just gives no. Whereas Gunslingers, I'm going to remember those glasses and that accent. I can't say he was good. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't good. I'm going to have to err on the side of bad, I think. He tried. I'll give him that. If you enjoyed Gunslingers, you may also like... What have you got?
You know, the thing that came to mind was, you know, the Red Dwarf episode where they go into the Western town.
The Guns of Laredo? Is that the episode? Red Dwarf season 6 episode 2. Why do I know that?
That can't be right.
Oh no, that's Legion. That's not the right one. Is it? That's not. No. I'm gonna have to.
Earlier than that.
It was, because Legion is like season 3. That's not right. Oh no, it's not. Maybe it's 6-1. Maybe. Right, that's gonna bug me.
Is it Croydon
Right.
Stetson?
Right. Episode 3, Gunmen of the Apocalypse, when they were playing the game. I'm sure the game was the Guns of Laredo or something like that. Oh, I love Red Dwarf so much. Yeah, 6-3, not 6-2. I was close.
I thought, or Three Amigos.
I love the Three Amigos. Haven't seen that for so many years. I loved Steve Martin when I was younger, so I quite fancy rewatching that one. I've got one that is just completely different. So the one that I've got that's a cowboy film, The Quick and the Dead, Sharon Stone, Gene Hackman, Leo DiCaprio, Russell Crowe, Lance Henriksen. That's quite an interesting film that subverts the genre. It's a little bit unique, I think, because it's about a female gunslinger rather than a male. Good performances all round. I enjoyed that film. If you want a good Heather Graham film, though, I would like to recommend a movie called Suitable Flesh. And Stu, I think you would like Suitable Flesh. It was out 2023, so it's a fairly recent one. She plays a psychiatrist who becomes obsessed with helping a young patient suffering extreme personality disorder, but it leads her into a dark occult danger as she tries to escape a horrific fate. It's weird, and it's really good. I went in not expecting much at all and really enjoyed it in the end.
Bruce Davison.
I think you'd like it. It's got sort of like the Substance vibes to it. Like, it feels like it's in that kind of a world. It's nothing like this film, but it's just a good Heather Graham film. So give that a watch, I think, is the only reason I can think of. Right, okay, so that's another Nick Cage film in the record books. Next week, we're going to be talking about Running with the Devil. That is Jason Cable, who is the director. Man, I have never heard that name of before. He has done 3 things. Smoke-Filled Lung in 2016, Running with the Devil in 2019, and 1 episode of SEAL Team in 2022. I've never heard of that. No idea. 7.9. Got very good ratings. I've never even heard of it, Stu.
David Boy Angel.
Oh, I know him, sorry, but I've never heard of this SEAL Team before.
Yeah, it's good, that is.
Yeah, well, he directed an episode of that, apparently.
So he when Bones finished, the year after he did SEAL Team, there was loads of them.
Oh, right, okay. So Running with the Devil, 2019 film starring Nicolas Cage and Lawrence Fishburne, which I'm never disappointed to see Lawrence Fishburne in anything.
No.
He's just an actor I've got a lot of time for. The CEO of an international conglomerate sent 2 of his most regarded executives to investigate why shipments of cocaine are being hijacked and overcut somewhere on the supply chain. I don't know what to expect with this film whatsoever. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't really recognise any of the other faces in the cast list. Oh, Leslie Bibb, I know her. She was in The League. That's about it. We'll find out next week, Running with the Devil, if you want to join us. The fact this is 2019 is worrying me because it's got a 5.4, and we did very recently watch another 2019 film that was terrible. Like, we're slowly coming out of the dark times with Cage, but he's still putting out some stinkers. Like 2019, A Score to Settle. Colour Out of Space was the good one. Kill Chain was bad. Primal. Can't believe that was 2019. And Grand Isle, which again I enjoyed for mostly the wrong reasons. Oh yeah, we really are in the weeds with Cage at the minute, but we'll be one step closer. So we've now got 3 films of his left to go, Stu. 3 films: Running with the Devil, Arsenal, and Outcast. That's all we've got left. Right, make sure you've got us on whatever podcaster that you listen to us on. If you could leave us a 5-star review as well, we would love you forever. Any emails to cagefightingpod@gmail.com, and get us on the socials at cagefightingpod. And for this week, Stu, would you like to say goodbye?
Hey, goodbye, everyone. Drinking hooch out of a plastic cup is sounds terrible, but it's actually really enjoyable. It's like Lilt. Just do that. Goodbye.
By that point of the night, I think I needed the sugar. Like it did its job. Anyway, it's goodbye from me too, and remember, be excellent to each other.